Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am the fourth of 5 children, born to a preacher and a wonderful spirit-filled mom. My dad started out as a pastor, so I knew him. He was my first pastor up until I was about 19 years of age. Then he was elected a bishop. I was brought up in Baltimore, Maryland, went to the public schools of Baltimore, and I was the only child of the 5 who stayed at home. Everyone else went away to college.
Okay.
But I wanted to know what it felt like to be an only child, to have a bedroom to myself, to have the car, without making an appointment with my brothers or sisters. So I stayed at home and attended Morgan. After Morgan, I was, I guess, a week before graduation, Samuel DeWitt Proctor came to my church to do a men's day. Wow. And my pastor, Bishop Frank Reed Jr., between the services, took him out to breakfast and invited me, this young preacher, to go along. Yeah. And over breakfast, Dr. Proctor asked me, what are your plans? And with a great deal of pride, I told him I have been admitted to Boston University. And so I'll be going there in September. And he said, for what? You haven't seen anything, you don't know anything. Join the Peace Corps and go to Africa. And it was like a light came on. The next morning, I went downtown and joined the United States Peace Corps and served 2 years in Liberia, West Africa. And I point to that experience as the changing point in my life. Wow. Spent a lot of years in rebellion, not studying, in trouble in the street, rebelling against being the preacher's son. But in Africa, I became John Bryant for the first time in my life. And there I found myself in so many ways. BU kept up with me, came back 2 years later and went to seminary at Boston University and began pastoring in New England. Had 2 churches in New England. One had 8 members, my first church in Fall River, Massachusetts. My second church, St. Paul, Cambridge. We started out there with about maybe 75 members. And both churches grew wonderfully well. And then after 5 years, I moved to Baltimore, where I pastored my home church, the church my father pastored, and stayed there 13 years. The Lord blessed that ministry in a major, major way, and I was elected a bishop. And then spent 28 years as a bishop in the AME Church. 20 years as a pastor, 28 as a bishop, and then I retired in 2016.
I want to go back to a story.
Go ahead. I can't leave out. Now, at Boston University, I met my bride.
Go ahead, come on and tell me now.
Got married in 1969. And out of that marriage, 2 beautiful children. And I tell people I'm from a preaching family. My father's a preacher. I'm a preacher. My older brother was a preacher. My sister's a preacher. My son is a preacher. My daughter is a preacher. My wife is a preacher. And I like to say if I had a dog, I think he'd preach.